But Anthony Lima, ladies and gentlemen, on his day off, coming into work, live on the show, on the North Olmsted Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram hotline. Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Lima to talk to Ken Carman and Jason Lloyd as Lloyd bats around his microphone like he's on an episode of Cops. Just leave your microphone there. Everybody can hear your microphone.
That's why
we
have to keep switching the camera angle.
Mitch must have it zoomed in because Jason keeps moving around. Anthony, it's been a test of wills today. It's been rough. As he continues to move around his mic.
You knew what you were getting into when you
Lord
called.
Almighty, just leave the microphone alone. Jason or Lima, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just want to say the Limas have been celebrating Ken Carman all weekend. Izzy, say what you were going to say.
Good. Good job, Ken.
Good job, Ken, on the back-to-back Emmy Awards. We have been celebrating throughout the weekend, and Izzy was ecstatic for you. So I showed her your boy holding on to the hardware. Just incredible.
Izzy's the best. Thank her very much, and thank you.
How you doing? You didn't win anything.
Now she's yelling in the back. She's saying hi to you, Jason. Go ahead.
Hi. I didn't hear you.
Maybe, hopefully, Jason sold a few subscriptions this weekend.
Sold a few subscriptions to what?
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah, we know what you do.
I didn't do anything this weekend.
How's your Substack doing?
Huh?
Anyway, Kenny, can you help me out here?
Yeah, what?
We were excited to obviously watch the finals last night. And what is it with the amount of people when I was tweeting about the NBA finals that had to interject that they couldn't believe what a bad product the NBA was. They couldn't believe I was watching the finals. Nobody cares about the finals. What possesses people to go out of the way? Do people do that with you in NASCAR? Do people hit you up all weekend long to ask why you care about NASCAR?
If I tweet anything about my love of NASCAR, which I watch NASCAR, I watched most of Pocono yesterday. I didn't get to see the finish, but I watched it yesterday. If I say anything about NASCAR, I will always get something because they know that NASCAR people get so defensive, and I just really never take the bait on, the non-athlete, non-sports stuff. I don't care. Fine.
I think anything non-NFL. Look, we all watch the NFL. Everybody watches it. So if somebody tweeted you all weekend, why are you watching the NFL? Bad product. Even though I've made the argument over the last few years, like the last month of the regular season is a bad product in the NFL, but no one would waste time doing that. I'm so curious, the psychology of the sports fans everywhere that have to go out of their way to tell you that you're wasting time or nobody cares. Like, are people doing that with golf? Like, I got a lot of buddies that love golf, even after the live split, that watch every tournament. They gamble on it. Are people going out of their way to say, why do you care about golf? Like, it's just such a weird thing that the NBA seems to have more people that I don't know if it's political. I don't know if it's the cable news thing. Like, I had buddies that actually said, well, the NBA went woke. I'm like, there's been no political talk at all in the NBA. You didn't see any shirts with any sayings on it. Like, I do think the NBA went out of their way to kind of go the opposite way, to make sure, like, hey, we've angered some of our season ticket holders and fans, and we've lost some casual fans over this. Maybe they don't want politics every day shoved down their throats. And that's why I sat there yesterday going, yeah, it sucks, Hallebertton, the injury. The game was amazing in the first half. Like, the fact that the Pacers were hanging in there, it was going to be like an all-time Cinderella story. But at no point was I thinking politics. Was I thinking, man, this is a terrible product. The fact that America doesn't know Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they really don't know Pascal Siakam. They don't know these coaches, even though Carlisle, you can make an argument. Had he had one last night, we're talking Hall of Fame. Like, none of that seeped into my mind. I'm just so curious why so many people were talking about all that extracurricular.
I think that's become part of the conversation about the NBA, though. I think it's still not a part of the NFL, and I think you're right. I do think the last month of the season can be very arduous, to say the best, or to say the least about it, and to say the worst about it, because especially since we've been on the bottom end of that. But I think that there is this weird, like, I don't do that with tennis. I know a person who loves tennis on TV and radio here, and I don't. Okay, like, you like tennis. I don't really watch tennis, but I don't ask them why they quote unquote waste their time watching tennis. So I think I agree with you, Jason.
I mean, the gameplay, it was a phenomenal series.
Yeah.
So the play on the court, I don't think it quite rises to the level of Cavs Warriors in 16. That's the best series I've ever seen in my life. And Game 7 is the best game I've ever covered in my life. But the quality of the play was, I thought, outstanding throughout this whole series. But I do think that it takes time. There are people who were turned off by the NBA over the last few years with some of the political stuff, and I think it takes time. You're not gonna win all of them back overnight. I think it takes time.
Well, and I do think this could be the start of something. Like, people wonder why, like, Jokic, who looks like he's the most talented guy in the league, he's putting up monstrous stats. Why is he not a bigger draw? And I'm like, well, he only went to one finals. Like, you've got to keep getting there. And the NBA, this is where parity, and I heard you guys talking about this early on, this is where parity bites them, in the butt over time, is that when you have a new champion every year, I think it's awesome because it's showing different styles. There's different team builds. There's more teams now that have a chance. I mean, think about how many teams next year are talking about having a chance to at least get to the Western or Eastern Conference Finals, or maybe the championship if you're in the East. But at the same time, you don't have that ability to showcase how great some of the players are perennially because they're not getting to that big stage.
And it doesn't create, I agree with Ken that dynasties are what drives a lot of, or super teams actually drives a lot of the ratings in the past. And the NBA is trying to actively get rid of that. And we'll see going forward. A lot of people wanted to dismiss the Nuggets title as who they didn't play anybody. And this is sort of the world that the league wanted. And now we'll see if fans embrace it or not. I'm skeptical.
Jason, it's the NFL world. But here's the one thing
NFL.
What I'm saying is, the NFL, there are how many teams every year that delude themselves, their fan bases, into thinking they can win or at least get to the Super Bowl. There's so many teams.
Yes.
And I think the NBA, this is the first time in my lifetime that the NBA is there. They are certifiably there where you can talk yourself into going to at least the Eastern or Western Conference Finals. I get everybody's talking dynasty, but clearly, like, Oklahoma City could be one injury away and they're not going to get there. Like, that's where the league is at right now.
And Oklahoma City can get got. Yeah, I understand they just won 68 games, won the championship, and they were the best team in the league start to finish, and they deserved it and they earned it. But I don't look at them as infallible. This isn't the Warriors of 2017. To the point, like, you can any team in this league can be gotten, but the NBA is not the NFL. And that's where I think the danger is when Adam Silver talks about the NFL and, well, the NFL is built this way and look how popular the Super Bowl is. Yeah, well, I don't see a world in the next 10 to 15 years where the NBA can ever get there in terms of popularity within the NFL.
No. And by the way, nobody can get there. Nobody is going to get there. All these other sports are having peaks and valleys. Like, you could argue the UFC is having another boom. Even though I'm not up late on Saturday nights, till 2 a.m. watching these. Like, these different sports go up and down. Baseball's having a resurgence. The pitch clock's been amazing. Like, tennis is trying to build new stars. I just think we're wasting time comparing any of this stuff to the NFL and wondering why these other sports aren't there. Like, let's just accept the fact the NFL is on one tier, college football is probably on the next, and then everybody else is kind of fighting. But I am curious, like, do you guys think I am overstating it when I say that yesterday, one of the bigger Cavs days not involving the Cavs actually playing basketball that I can remember? And I say that, and I thought about it very carefully, that, hold on, my wife is yelling at me because Mason's playing with Play-Doh.
I thought she was out of town now.
Oh, no, she's leaving later today.
Oh, get the hell out of town. Go. Be gone.
I am telling you right now, I think yesterday was a monumental day with the Cavs that didn't even involve them playing. And here's why. Not only do you have one of the biggest news breakers in the NBA world talking about a possible Kevin Durant trade, and it seems like he's not the only one. So clearly the Cavaliers had probed and trying to make some sort of a deal involving Kevin Durant, but also Hallebertton going down like that. Like, what a state of confusion if you are on the Cavs right now, or you are close to, say, Darius Garland, because he would have had them in dealt in any kind of deal involving Kevin Durant. What must they be thinking? What is Donovan Mitchell thinking right now about, like, the state of flux? Like, they're running back their core, because I don't think there's going to be a huge deal that they can consummate that can elevate this team that I think the organization would pursue. But that Hallebertton injury happening last night, probably having him miss the entire next season, Jason Tatum missing the next season, Dame Lillard missing the next season. This thing is so wide open, but do they think they have a true championship level team? Clearly they don't think they did, or they would not be involved in Kevin Durant talk.
He's Kevin Durant. Of course you try. Ken and I talked about this earlier. I don't believe they were ever serious candidates to get Kevin Durant because the owner would never allow it.
Yeah, but I also think what Lima is also alluding to here is that the clock is sped up on the Cavs now with these two big injuries in the East.
Well, I don't even know if it's that it's Kevin Durant. He's still a top 10 player in this league. And he's better than Darius Garland. So if you have the opportunity to get him, yeah, of course you're going to explore that. You should. How many players are truly untouchable in the NBA? Very, very few. Very, very few. So if you have an opportunity to add a guy like that, and you have to look at it, you can't look at it as like Darius is young and Kevin is old. You have to look at it as you have 2 years to win a championship before you have to break this thing apart. That's it. You have 2 years. So I totally get from the Cavs why they would explore it. I just don't think it was ever realistic from Phoenix's end.
And it probably wasn't. And obviously the financials with the second apron stuff, which you're going to hear a lot about. But what does it say about what the organization thinks of their window? If this was truly part of the calculus, them going after it, I know people are saying, why do you say Darius Garland? There's no other way. I mean, they're not trading Evan Mobley.
There is. They could have done a 3-team deal with other pieces. More than likely, it probably would include Darius. I agree. But it's not impossible to have made that work without trading Darius.
Jason, I just think that they are certainly like the conversations we have on social media is one thing. They have seen this team fall short in their estimation, probably 3 consecutive years. Man, you could go 4 years if you talk about them losing a play-in. They have not been a team that has risen to the occasion. We're watching 2 teams in the NBA Finals that have endless amount of wings and guards that are considered tough-minded, physical, that are playoff risers. They are looking up and down this roster, and you can't say that about basically anybody outside of Donovan Mitchell. He's the only player who has been able to reach a different level come playoff time, and they were denied that ability to kind of see if they could evaluate any of these other guys on the roster to that extent. I think that is the desperation that would cause them to think about a Kevin Durant deal. And I think it's monumental. I wonder what Darius is thinking. And Donovan is the one. Donovan, we all understand, like, this window is very short with him. You know, we're going to be talking about an extension. You mentioned that earlier in the show. We're already at a Darius extension this summer that he's eligible for. So you consider that like I got to give the Cavs credit for not being delusional, but they obviously weren't able to swing a Kevin Durant deal. But what does that mean for them this year and come trade deadline? Like, they could be the 1 seed in the East, right? They wouldn't make a trade, would they? Well, do they think that they can actually win in the playoffs? And I think that Kevin Durant chatter is pretty solid evidence that they are very concerned about whether or not they can truly win a title with this core.
It's a top 10 player in the league that becomes available. It's almost impossible to get those guys. So, yeah, you have to have that conversation to pursue that. But because they don't get him, I don't think that means Darius is widely available to the rest of the league. I think that was a rare opportunity to significantly upgrade the roster and impact the team and absolutely put you into that championship contention window. But there are so few moves that they can feasibly make outside of that. I don't see it. I don't know. I have yet to see the deal that makes sense for both sides, that seems logical, that makes the Cavs better.
Tone, before we let you go, because you only have a couple of minutes left, Anthony Lima joining us here on the show that he's named after. Do you believe that the Tyrese Hallebertton injury is a cautionary tale for the Cavs in the future, for any team in the future in the postseason?
So, the one thing, first of all, we gotta understand the difference between this, and I saw the concussion stuff. I think it's a fascinating conversation.
Yeah,
the difference is NBA guaranteed contracts. These guys are good. Like, they're going to be fine. You're not worried about them and their families, 3 years down the road because of CTE. Like, these guys are all great. Like, this is an amazing, blessed life that they live. And I can't blame any of these guys or their teams for allowing guys to play under these circumstances. I mean, who knows? Will the Pacers ever be back there in a deciding game, a potential elimination game to win the championship? Like, I wouldn't be shocked if we're talking 20 years from now and that was their best shot. So I don't think that's a cautionary tale. It does make me think about Donovan. I mean, Donovan Mitchell playing on that calf. Like, can you imagine if he goes down in the playoffs trying to put that whole team on his back, considering he's been playing with similar calf injuries, calf strains, the last few years deep into the playoffs. Like, I think it is a question. I think Joe Varden, colleague of Jason's, has a very interesting point of view on this, where his reporting showed that people around the league, the players, they love the Cavs mindset of being very careful with injuries. But the flip side of that is, what are the Cavs considered around the NBA? They are considered soft. Like, that is not media stuff. That's not fan driven. They are considered around the league a soft team because of the way they coddle the players with the injuries. So it's such a catch-22. And I think that is fascinating, a fascinating conversation with the Cavs going forward. Like, you got guys like the Morris brother who joined on with the Cavs. Was it Markieff or was it
Marcus?
Marcus. Yeah. And he basically said, this is a soft team. This is a soft organization. Guys should play. There is that tentacle of it. Like, there are guys in the league that they can't believe that Darius Garland and Evan Mobley missed games.
I had guys in the NBA. Series. I had executives in the NBA and NFL texting me saying, I can't believe those guys didn't play game 2.
Right. And they were injured. Like, there's no doubt there were injuries. Some guys play through them. Some guys are capable of playing through them, and some guys aren't. And I think this is going to be a huge conversation in the NBA. Guys are getting more and more injured. I think there's the people that dog the NBA. Guys are moving so much faster, and so much the duration of the way that these guys with the pace and the spacing, they've clocked them. Like, they know there's so much more movement in the NBA game right now than there's ever been. Guys are Euro stepping. They're going off 1 foot. That puts them susceptible. Not to go nitty gritty basketball, but I think there's a lot of problematic movements that are starting in high school with these NBA players. And because of that, I don't think their bodies are necessarily going to be as giving and supportive for those movements. And I think over time, that's why you're seeing these injuries. This is going to be, I think, more the norm in the NBA, especially with 82 games and the 2-month playoff. I think you're going to see more and more of this.
All right. Thank you very much for the time. Enjoy your children. We'll talk to you again soon.
See you guys.